I'm Heather Upton. I'm the Executive Director and Curator of the Bonner County Historical Society and Museum. We are located in Lakeview Park, if you're not familiar, and many of us easily identify us with our great yellow caboose that we have on exhibit. So I'm so excited to be able to share the museum with you today and an upcoming project that we're working on. I don't know if you've been inside the museum, but we have amazing exhibits. We have a fantastic research room, and we are all about preserving and sharing the history of Bonner County with you. And through that, we have a very vital research facility, a library. We have over 1 million objects in our collection, 70,000 photos, if you can imagine, and 97% of the newsprint ever printed in Bonner County. So we are here to help educate you about families, properties, anything that has to do with Bonner County, and we really love doing it. One of the things that's really interesting happening at the museum right now, we have one of our largest artifacts, which would be our homestead cabin. It's kind of a hidden little jewel, and I'm be excited to share it with you. It's come under a serious moment of distress, and let me share a little bit about its history with you. This cabin was originally built on Shingle Mill Road in 1904. And it served as a homestead for a family, but it also, as many of those buildings did, it had multiple uses to it. It functioned as a veterinary clinic during that time period too, in 1904, operated by Dr. Jones. And imagine how many little furry animal lives it saved. So like many historic buildings, it has a lot of layers behind it. And back when James Bruce owned it, he saw the importance of this building and wanted to preserve it. So he donated it to the museum in 1981. And during that time, we had Governor Don Samuelson leading the charge, and he had a collaborative of 16 different local granges, which unfortunately today are kind of a historical relic too. And they took apart that cabin piece by piece, as you can imagine, like a Lincoln log structure, numbered everything, moved it to the museum grounds, and then put it all back together. But it wasn't actually that easy because it was snowing all of a sudden, like a day like today, winter coming maybe a little too early, and all of the markings had been washed off. And so when springtime came and they went to put it back together, it was a very challenging project to do. So what's so amazing about this structure is it had so much community involvement back in the 80s, and over time we've had different community groups in the 90s come and redo the chinking and so forth. But because of the scale of the object and time, it's just kind of fallen through the cracks of it, and it served the community as a storage shed for the Kinnickinnick Native Plant Society. So I want to show you a little bit of what I'm talking about, so please follow me. We're gonna go on a little snowy trip here. Kind of over the woods, through the woods. Okay, so now we're in the Kinnickinnick Native Plant Arboretum. And this is much of a jeweled area in itself, but it's a little bit hidden back here. And I've seen many of you and your families come here, peer into the windows trying to discover what's inside this structure. Children have gone up and turned that handle trying to figure out how to get in. It's much like the caboose. It's just a magnet for interest. And it's been locked, and it's stored a couple of rakes, a lawnmower, and so forth. Is that the best use for this amazing structure? In my book, it's not. But the problem that we're running into is the condition. As you can see, moss has taken over the original cedar shakes that we had installed in '81, which is period to the building. And it's just really felt the test of time. And it's in a point where if we don't take the proper steps to preserve this, which is our duty as a museum, we are going to lose this really important structure. And in today's world, homestead cabins are few and far in between. It's important that we continue to tell the history of it. So come on in. I'd like to show you around. It gets even more exciting inside. I love being in an old building. It's so special. It's amazing. I like to close my eyes and think about what it used to smell like, how it felt, what sounds were happening. And you can really feel it. And the thing about being a curator is I'm really lucky to be able to have my spaces inside the museum, but more and more we're trying to bring history beyond our walls. And to be able to have a structure in itself that's historic and tells a story is amazing. And what it does is it creates an immersive learning experience. And I learned that because I've been working with the local public schools on what they need right now during these difficult times through the pandemic. And what they've told me, they need outdoor immersive education spaces. And that's when I immediately thought, oh my gosh, we need to take this structure, we need to restore it, and we need to be able to have it functioning right now for the children and for the community to help remind them what life was like, the parallels of hard times and how we all get through it and we band together. And so, just a little bit about the condition, literally shaking is coming down. I don't know if you can see the rays of light coming through the structure. If you look up above, we literally have, holes in the ceiling. The good news is early materials are rock solid, and we can be able to keep this structure and preserve it through doing new age roofing techniques, having new shingles installed, and then chinking done again. And what that will do, it will stabilize it and help preserve it for a very long period of time. And it's very doable. We've been working with local contractors and specialists, and what we're looking forward to doing is educating the public on how cedar shake was made, how chinking was done. And so we're looking forward to doing these community events and classes that teach people about early homesteading and how to build an early structure. But what we will be doing is using more modern techniques and materials to ensure that it's a very safe structure. And the beauty of this project is that we're hoping for springtime, and we're getting all of our people lined up now and doing all of our due diligence. And we're going to definitely involve the community again in restoration. And it's amazing because the balance of the grant funding completely helps support this structure in terms of repairing it. And then the second part is turning it into an exhibit space. And so imagine, I already have this beautiful structure to work with. So I'm going to be using objects, oral histories, which will lead into narratives, and photos to help tell the story of early homesteading. Of course, I'll have that little twist of Dr. Jones and his veterinary clinic. And I also want to talk about a really important event that happened here in Bonner County, which was a Rural Electrification Act. And we were one of the first counties north of the Mississippi to have rural electricity, which is really important. And in today's world with children, I think it's really important that they understand about technology and electrification and the timeline, because technology has advanced in such a short period of time, and children are so technologically engaged that I think it would work really well with their science and STEM programs too. So we've talked about education and how important this space will be to public schools, homeschools, and private schools. And education is so number one, but let's talk about community. we want to be able to take this amazing structure and share it with all community members, young and old. We want it to go back into the community, have them be able to experience and learn about the foundation and root of their history, but we also want them to be a part of the restoration of doing it too. And speaking about amazing community members, I like to harken back to the exhibit, The Women Who Shaped Bonner County, and all those early pioneer women that were in such a rough and tumble environment. And they carved out and worked so hard to create a healthy community that they could raise their children in and help so many generations ahead of them for the future. And for me, it's just that amazing kismet moment that your organization, which is 101 women, an organization of such strong, powerful women, may be able to have the opportunity to take this project and restore it and turn it into an exhibit space which helps the community. It creates a new wonderful experience, and it also educates and helps in this time of need where education is so difficult. And all of you are strong women of today, like our four women, can help create and continue the legacy and the civic honor. And so I'm really excited about the project, and I really thank all of you for taking the time to let me share this with you. And I hope that this is an exciting experience for you to potentially be all a part of. So thank you so much.